Hello again, my friends, and happy Mother's Day here in a few days. I am really excited to be on with you guys. I had the opportunity we had like a super women, like show and tell. It sounds kind of silly. But basically, what we did with the women in our church congregation, we had a little activity and we encouraged everyone to come prepared to share something about a woman that they admire. It could be somebody you're related to, or it could just be someone that you admire. It could be a story, it could be a family recipe, an heirloom, something that they've made. It could be a song, really any way that we wanted to kind of pay tribute to the strong women in our lives. And I decided that I was going to share about my grandma. And in telling those few stories with them, I wanted to kind of share it on here as well. I lost my grandma about a year and a half ago. And before that, we had lost my grandpa before I even started having kids. So he's been gone longer. And in thinking about my grandpa, we always think about him just being really, truly like what a patriarch should be. He really was this mountain of a man and who was so loving and was eager to share his testimony with anyone who would hear it, especially his grandchildren and great-grandchildren. He served in so many different capacities in our church. And, the more that I've thought about Grandma being gone now too, the more I've come to realize just how much they were yoked together. They were equal partners, that there was so much that he couldn't have done and been without her constant loyalty and support and help in raising their 5 children. They truly were pioneers in every sense of the word. They both were converts to our church, and also so spiritually, but also physically as well, where they were from Canada and they moved out to California for the American dream. And so I owe so much of myself to them. Sorry, I think I get so emotional so quickly. But anyways, Grandma, the few things that I always think about when I think about my grandma, one is that she loved to make ceramics. Any one of our family members could tell you that they have some of Grandma's ceramics somewhere in their home. She was always so willing to share them and gift them to people, and was always talking about her latest project. And so I see that creative streak, right, in myself and in my girls. And I also, when I think of my grandma, I think about family history. She was always doing genealogy and eager to share what she was learning about our heritage. She took great pride in our heritage. And when I think of both of those things, I think about this podcast. I didn't think about it. Sorry. Here I get emotional again. I didn't think about it when I was young because I didn't have the perspective. But as I've started this podcast, that is truly about finding the things that make you happy, that excite you, that bring you joy, that light you up, that spark. Those were some of those things for my grandma, and she was willing to share those things with others. And I think that that's a very beautiful thing. It's one thing, it's difficult to find what lights us up to begin with, let alone to turn around and make time to share that and be very open about those things with others. And she was such an amazing example of that to me. The other thing that she always made a priority was anytime that I talked to her, whether it was in person or whether it was over the phone, she always made it a point to tell me that she was proud of me and that I was prayed for. And that's something that I really, truly want to emulate as well. That love and support. When she passed, really clung to the song Marjorie by Taylor Swift, which Taylor wrote for and about her grandmother, whose name is Marjorie. So there's obviously a lot of parallels in that regard. But I did want to share at least one line here with you. As the song progresses, the line kind of changes, though. So it starts in the beginning, or towards the beginning of the song, where it's, if I didn't know better, I think you were talking to me now. And the middle of the song is, if I didn't know better, I think you were singing to me now. And then at the end, it's, I know better, but I still feel you all around. I know better, but you are still around. And I just know that to be true. And every time I hear it, I just feel that closeness with her. And you can ask my friends, that song is played at the Eras Tour, and my friend had left to go to the bathroom or get merch or something. She had left for a moment and came back in the middle of that song, and I was recording, but I was, tears streaming down my face, like having a meltdown, having a moment, right? Connecting with grandma here. And I was just looking at my friend like, I'll explain it to you later. But yes, it's just what a blessing it is to know that those relationships are eternal. But one more story just to pick it up, now that I've been all emotional. So when I first got married, there was a day that I was in charge of going to pick up grandma from my aunt's house for the festivities that were happening that day. And so I went and picked her up, and there had been like some construction in the area, and they had changed the speed limit, and I hadn't realized it. So here I am, grandma's in the car, I get pulled over. I get pulled over by the cops. And it wasn't for going too fast. Ironically enough, it was for going too slow. And, my sweet grandmother just does the granny thing. She just is, she's just nervous because she's driving her grandma and she's getting married in a couple days, and like just totally talked me out of a ticket. And I am sitting there. Normally in those situations where I'm super stressed, I get super emotional. Like I break down. But in this situation, I think I was just in shock. I was just mortified. Just what just happened? So we drive away with a warning, right? And my grandma is just like, she says to me what was repeated many times throughout the whole rest of the wedding weekend, especially when things went wrong, which is, we're just making memories. So now anytime anything gets a little sticky, a little difficult, a little harder than I want it to be, we're just making memories. That's my grandma. I hope you guys have the best weekend, giving and getting that love that you deserve as mothers, as women. I truly, truly appreciate each and every one of you and your stories and your examples to me. So happy Mother's Day. Until next time, have the best week.